Hello everybody, welcome to Negotera Odyssey. How is everybody? Talk about perfect timing and everything. So yesterday, as you guys know, in the US there were tornadoes and hurricanes and all kinds of really inclement, dangerous weather, and same where I live, there was tons of rain. Oh my God. Speaking of that, I look out my window and I didn't know that Mochi was outside. So I see this big Puss in Boots eyes and this paw on the window and him soaking wet looking in the window, and I was like, oh my gosh. So I brought him in and snuggled and cuddled and dried him all off. And it was weird though how I had this sense all of a sudden, when we feel like we can't go out, so we want to go out even more. And I was just praying, I said, please make tomorrow like an outside day so I can just go and refresh and cleanse and be out in nature and walk and get great creative ideas. Because sometimes when I feel like I can't go somewhere, I get really cagey. And as a fire sign, I'm like, oh, we had all these alerts and restrictions saying don't actually go out because really dangerous conditions. So today it's really beautiful out. So I'm going to go be filming in the park for you guys as well. I'm really excited. Beautiful, beautiful weather out there. But something I came across in my room talking about on perfect timing is one of my favorite cards from one of my favorite decks, and one of my favorite phrases, abracadabra. And then what fell out on top of it was knowledge. And I thought, that's amazing, right? Because this is what creates this for us. The knowledge that we can go out and seek any kind of advice, positivity, inspiration, whatever it is. And just by happenstance, when I turned on my television, one of my favorite astrologers came up, and she was discussing kind of both of this and talking about the ego state and releasing it so we can have those like basically abracadabra moments. And I do battle with it every single day, because the ego is like an auto program that wants us to go and prove ourselves and be a certain way in the world. And what happens is it starts prompting us from the moment we open our eyes. It, honest to goodness, does that. You should be doing this. Oh my gosh, go take a shower. You need to find some good clothes. You need to, whatever it is, right? Instead of let me sit there and be where I should be. And what Tanya was talking about was getting into that place of quiet. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean we can't be moving while we're doing it, but we're quieting the mind. And she did this one gesture, and I thought, oh my gosh, I get the connection of this. And remember when you were young and people acted a little zany and people would go like that? That actually is like a symbol for the mind being overworking, like that person's going mental. Going inside their head and going and going and going, and sometimes in an ego state, and then it's battling with itself, so people act crazy, as opposed to this, right? I love you, my heart, I'm listening. You ever just touch your heart when you see something so beautiful? That is the opposite. So that's what I do. You guys, you can picture yourself doing something that will snap you out of the ego state. And that's the promise I made to myself, that I have my microphone right where my heart is, that I will go like that. And that reminds me to get back into my intuitive heart state, as opposed to this mentally just gearing up for everything. And like, here is a predicament too. I am going to the park to be filming and doing some things. Right away, I started grabbing everything in sight. I'm surprised I didn't grab the couch, the washing machine. I was like, what am I doing? I'm like, you need a bottle of water, your phone, a deck, and go. Like, simmer down. I was like, oh, I need blankets, I need this. And I started to overcomplicate. Again, I was getting in an ego state and getting wound up. So when these popped out of one of the bags that I had last brought to the park, I thought, this is it. This is the abracadabra. Let's simplify. Let's touch our heart. It can be anything, tapping our knee, whatever works for us. And I said, you can make all these moments all day with the knowledge that your ego is going to try to seep in and make you maybe purchase materialistic things that you don't need. Be protective of self, because I feel like the ego is a very knee-jerk response to try to defend yourself. I have nothing. I don't need to defend myself from anything or anyone, right? I'm just going to go and I'm going to have a great day in the park. But I just love this because it gets us in the heart space of, and this is a really ancient word too. And I feel like words do imbue magic. And if we just say, today is going to be my abracadabra. I want this perfect parking spot. I want to have a moment. And again, I want to cease the mental, cogs always going, and I want to have mental peace and calm, because that's really where we get in that gorgeous meditative state where we can think clearly. So a deep breath sometimes does that and just releases it, and then we're like, now I can really think. So anytime that you feel like you're getting overworked mentally, just put your hand on your heart or whatever reminds you to get back into that peace and quiet and calm, and then just exude. Then we start to exude that, right away. Instead of picking up everything in sight, I just simplified. I was like, water, deck of cards, phone, keys, let's go, right? Simple, simple, simple. So that's your daily pop, you guys. Love and light.